Yes, I am motioning, as you said, 16,000 comments were submitted. I have not seen those comments. I'm not sure if other members of the committee have seen those comments, but those would be pertinent to the discussion that's here today. So I either motion that those comments be read into the record for all of us to hear, or that we recess until a time that we can review those comments.
Second.
Okay, we'll take up that motion. It will be a majority of those present and voting. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Pellerin,
No.
Pellerin, no. Macedo,
Aye.
Macedo, aye. Bennett,
No.
Bennett, no. Berman,
No.
Berman, no. Salache,
No.
Salache, no. Stephanie,
No.
Stephanie, no. Tongipa,
Aye.
Tongipa, aye.
Motion fails.
Then I make another
vote.
motion to recess until every member of this committee has time to review all 16,000 public comments.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to recess until they could read the comments. And Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Pellerin,
No.
Pellerin, no. Macedo,
Aye.
Macedo, aye. Bennett,
No.
Bennett, no. Berman,
Nope.
Berman, no. Salache,
No.
Salache, no. Stephanie,
No.
Stephanie, no. Tongipa,
Aye.
Tongipa, aye.
Motion-
Sounds transparent to
Motion
me.
fails 2-5. We're now going to get on to our hearing. They come up to the mic.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to amend.
Second.
Amend what?
Amend ACA, and I would like that the sergeants pass these amendments out so that way everybody could read them.
Give me 1 second, please. Are the amendments in Ledge Council form? Okay.
Right here.
Okay. So these are not author's amendments, so the rule you cited is not
It
relevant.
says a member, does not say the author.
But they are not author's amendments.
Once again, it's
The committee rules are clear that this is related to author's amendments only. These are not being offered by the author of the ACA.
this is not clear.
Madam Chair.
The author is Rivas and McGuire.
In section 2, it's that we authored this,
We
actually.
prepared this
prepared this.
ACA.
Okay, give me 1 moment to thoroughly answer your question. My ruling is the amendments are not in order.
There is a motion on the table.
And your motion is not in order as well.
Madam Chair, I asked to read the amendments into the journal.
Second.
I reject that. No,
On what grounds, Madam Chair?
my decision.
So there's transparency and bipartisanship.
Yes, Assembly Member
I would like to
Salachi.
move the bill for approval. Move the item.
We have a motion to approve the bill.
Madam, the motion to read into the journal takes
One
precedent.
1 second, please. I'd like to recognize Assembly Member Stephanie. Oh. Okay, there's a motion and a second to amend ACA 8.
So,
And I'd like to recognize Assembly Member Stephanie.
I move to lay the amendments on the table.
So you're not going to allow us to debate or present these amendments for anybody to read. They're just going to vote on them, correct?
We are going to, the motion is to lay the amendments on the table.
So
Madam Chair-
none of my colleagues are going to read this before they vote on it, correct? I just want to clarify.
As it is, so I'm good.
Madam Chair, we
You
just
could make them better.
we just
I
heard
don't think they will.
we
You
just
haven't
heard
seen them.
both testimony from the author
We haven't even heard
And-
all the testimony, so
But we've
let's
made-
try to get through this hearing on the bill,
But
all right?
we've
Let's try to
made
hear
this
the bill
statement
in its
here.
current form.
We might
We have
be
a
able
motion
have
to
if we
lay
would've
the
had
amendments on the
more of a
table.
heads up about this.
Madam
Madam-
Secretary, please call the roll.
But Madam Chair, we made the statement that we're making this very transparent.
We
and
have
this
a
is very
motion to
clear.
lay the amendments on the table.
And I
We're
would
going to
like-
proceed with that motion.
Wait a second. The whole thing is that this is about transparency and that you want fairness in this. We got the language at 8 o'clock. All we're asking is for our input to be taken. You didn't talk to me as your vice chair about this, so here's our opportunity, Madam Chair. All we're asking for is participation in this. And Mr. Tongipa came prepared. The rules state this, that I would be happy to bring the chief clerk in to review this. I don't know why you're shutting this down.
And Madam Chair, I would have presented this to you sometime sooner at any other time. I had no time. We didn't receive this, and yet there are authors on this before I even got to see this. I didn't get this till last night because we were not informed. So my question is, since everybody's prepared, since you're so fine with the ACA, is how much time did they get to prepare before I did? Why am I not deserve that same for the 500,000 representatives that I get to represent in my district? Why am I not granted that same right to defend them?
I believe we have a law in California that that members get 72 hours before final vote on any legislation to review the legislation and the language of the legislation before they vote.
But Mr.
on
Berman,
that language
did you
as
have
the final
did you
as the
have
final
this-
version.
how-
I saw
how
this
early-
language yesterday.
How-
I
okay.
saw this language yesterday.
You saw this like
It was in print yesterday morning, correct?
It was in
And that's
print.
when I saw. And that's
But
when I
it was
saw.
in print,
And
but when was it
was in
seen?
print,
I
and
saw it
you're a
yesterday.
co-author on it immediately?
Yeah.
So you had seen that even before it was printed, you were already a co-author?
Yeah, I absolutely support the concept. I had faith in the authors to draft the right language. They did, and I support it.
But I
For
did
the
not have that
concept,
same.
but you didn't even read
I did not have
language.
that same ability.
You weren't aware of the concept? You weren't aware of the news that we
no,
were
that's
planning
not
on
what I'm
doing
saying.
that?
Mr. Berman, what
Excuse
I'm
me, we
saying
have
what I
we have
said.
the chief clerk here,
I am simply just
Sue Parker.
asking for the same amount of time so that way I can go into this just as much as everybody else.
I saw the
and
language
that
when
there
it went
are
into print yesterday
amendments,
morning.
And I understand that. And I have a different opinion on
Yeah.
that. And that's okay because
And
I'm
we both
granted
get
that
Okay,
72
all right,
hours
excuse
to
me,
review the
we're gonna-
language
hey,
before we
hey,
vote
and-
on it in its final
Hey!
vote.
I'm asking for.
We're going to stop this right now, this back and forth, okay? We have to have some civility in here. We have our
Yes,
chief
ma'am.
clerk, Sue Parker. If you could please come on up for a consult, please.
That language
Did you
as
have-
the final
did you
as the final
have this-
version.
how-
I
how
saw this
early-
language yesterday.
How-
I
okay.
saw this language yesterday.
You saw this like
It was in print yesterday morning, correct?
It was in
And that's
print.
when I saw and that's
But-
when I
It was
saw
in print,
And
but when was it
was in
seen?
print,
I
and
saw it
you're a
yesterday.
co-author on it immediately?
Yeah.
So you had seen that even before it was printed, you were already a co-author?
Yeah, I absolutely support the concept. I had faith in the authors to draft the right language. They did, and I support it.
But I
For
did
the
not have that
concept,
same.
but you didn't even read.
I- So, as was stated, and not only that, we see that there are multiple co-authors on this bill that I hope don't have the same regards as the presenter of this stated, that they were a co-author before they even saw this bill. I believe that these amendments actually help make sure that we are protecting the democracy in which was stated earlier today, that we're making sure that this is as transparent, and if you're actually fighting for the people of California, that you buy into this. So there would be no reason for them to deny this amendment unless they have a vested interest in the maps that are being presented before us, in the changes in these congressional districts. So simply to read the amendment is, a member of the legislature who voted in favor of Assembly Constitutional Amendment 8 of the 2025-2026 regular session shall not be a candidate for congressional office in any congressional district adopted pursuant to Section 4. All in an essence of, if everybody here is saying that they are doing this to protect democracy, to do it, to make sure that they don't have a vested interest. And especially when we have seen reports reported by KCRA that stated that the pro temp asked for a specific district to be drawn so he could be included in that the DCCC wrote these maps, and it shows that there is so much political gains and political partisanship that has been played, that has been lied to the California people. You now have the ability to prove that you are in this for those same right reasons that the presenter actually asked us to do. You have the ability right now to say that you're doing this for those specific reasons. So when you cast your vote on these amendments, you will declare to the California people that you do believe in democracy, that every statement and the amount of placating that we heard earlier today, that your words are true, And this gives you the chance to tell the truth, to tell the California people that you have no vested interest in this, that you believe in everything that was stated, that the author and the presenters and all of the other co-authors on this say that I'm not running for this congressional seat because of my personal gain. I'm doing these districts because it's what you believe in. So you have the chance to do so. Every single person who's a co-author on this who didn't read the bill. Okay, if you didn't read the bill, then you shouldn't have any issues adding this as an amendment because you don't have any problems with it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Assemblymember Stephanie,
I move to lay the amendments on the table.
we have a motion to lay.
My friend.
Thank you.
And the
That the-
motion to
that the-
lay the amendments on the table is not debatable. I've given you a little
But
time
doesn't it-
to have some
doesn't it
comments.
worry you
But
that they
Madam
stated they
Secretary,
didn't
now
read it?
please call the roll.
That's all I'm trying to do is read this.
Pellerin,
Yes.
Pellerin, I, Macedo,
No.
Macedo, no, Bennett. Aye. Bennett, I, Berman.
Aye.
Berman, I, Salache. Salache, I, Stephanie.
Aye.
Stephanie, I, Tangipa.
No.
Tangipa, no.
Politicians overview?
So the motion to lay the amendments on the table succeeded. So we will now move on to the other witnesses in support of ACA 18.
Many of us prefer the old rules. We prefer the agreement we all had to play by those rules, right? But when autocrats change the rules and the norms that we are using to decide who has power, we can either fight back or we can potentially permanently lose the ability ever to fight back again in the future. That is the question in front of us, in spite of all kinds of other distractions we will have. What are the rules and norms for how we transfer power? This is an attempt to grab control of the power of the House of Representatives with redistricting and permanently, potentially grab that control. That is too big of a risk for us to say, well, we like doing it the other way. We like the more get along, everybody follow the democratic way. We simply don't have that choice today. I strongly support this bill. I appreciate the speaker's leadership. I appreciate the chair's leadership in bringing this forward. Thank you very much.
Excuse me, can you just let him answer the question? He's doing so. Just
Did you
close
miss-
your
I
mouth,
just-
open your
I just
ears,
said I
listen
believe
to
it's
him for a second, please.
approximately $200 million.
We all need to listen to each other. So when someone else is speaking,
So
let's
wait,
have
why do
one
I have
speaker
to
at a
close my
time.
mouth when somebody else
I'm just saying,
interrupts me?
no, I'm saying
Do
it
you
to
not
both of you.
find that-
I'm going to say that to both of you. Please refrain from speaking when the other person is speaking.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Health system
That's
because of Trump's big, beautiful bill and the decimation that is having, that all 9 Republican members of California's congressional delegation voted on, like a bunch of feckless followers. No matter the damage that is doing to their communities, the billions of dollars that the Republican Congress is taking away, and the cost that's having for Californians and California taxpayers. And so if that's just Santa Clara County, 2 million people, and it's an over $1 billion hit that their healthcare system is taking, that the poorest residents of Santa Clara County rely on just to get their basic healthcare, over $1 billion. Imagine the cost that this Republican Congress is costing the entire state of California. So do I think that, I'm sorry?
When will the public comments be released to the members of the committee?
That's not a question for me. That's up to the chair of the committee. So
We're following the typical procedures for comments, and those will be, they're public to our members, and then they will be made public after the bill is processed.
And, okay. How are we supposed to vote on this, like, when we haven't even seen those public comments?
well, you have the 5-page bill in front of you. And so I think what you are voting on is the bill. It is not the public comments.
So on that 5-page bill, it states AB 604 and SB 280. Those bills are hundreds of pages long. Since they're attached to each other, have you read those?
I have not read every page of those bills.
Okay.
Yeah,
It took me a little while
I
because
bet. Those are longer than this one.
it is.
Yeah.
So, since they're attached to each other,
Yeah.
they cannot pass without the other one not passing. I really do think the merits of one or the other
Yeah.
are very important to that. And so is it possible that these maps are struck down in court and we're about to spend hundreds of millions of dollars because of the way that we've done this with such urgency?
I'm not prepared to predict what the courts might do.
Point of
We
order.
have come up with a way to respond, and this is
Point of
the
order.
bill that we are presenting today. You play stupid games, you get stupid prizes.
Point of order.
And that's what you are doing.
What is your point of order?
I was constantly reminded to remain to the pertinent
I've
subject.
deliberated
Yes, to
this
bring in the
measure
chief clerk
for
to see if
several
this is
hours.
in line
We
with
are
our
calling this
Constitution.
debate
Madam
You
Chair.
are
to
not allowing me to exercise
conclusion.
my
Madam
First
Chair,
Amendment
please.
And with
right
that,
to speak.
Madam, you pontificated
I will
on
go ahead
transparency.
and allow
I
the
asked
Assembly
you via
Member
text
Berman.
message last night if we
Excuse
would
me,
be
Madam
this is
Chair.
not the way
members.
we conduct our hearings.
It's
Okay,
Well,
not.
because you're not
It's
answering
not
my
the way.
I have
question.
allowed
This is
you
not the
plenty
way
of
we
time
conduct
to
our
ask your
hearings.
questions.
This is an urgency that is being moved
I have
through.
allowed
So
plenty of time for you
Madam
to
Chair,
answer.
please.
I have allowed you plenty of
I'm still
time to
not
ask
done.
your questions.
You've not
It took
allowed
me
me
a
I have
long
allowed you plenty of time to ask your questions.
As the presenter had
Assembly Member
stated,
Berman,
he
you may
talked to me-
close.
Madam
Out
Chair,
of respect
please.
for my Republican
Madam
colleagues,
Chair,
I had
there
a
are
long
so many
close
more
prepared,
questions.
but I'm going to forego that.
We do need
and
to know.
just ask for an aye
Madam
vote.
Chair, we
Mr.
asked
Berman,
you.
would you be willing
that
to answer my questions that I have prepared?
I am following the direction of the chair on how the committee hearing will proceed.
Mr.
We
Berman,
have
can you
to be
explain
respect-
to me
we
how
have to be
spending
respectful of people's
$250 million
times,
on the special election provides a greater public health benefit than constructing egress routes for our mountain communities?
Okay,
Mr.
Mr.
Tongipa,
you have been
Mr. Tongipa,
asked to
evacuate.
stop. We are done
Mr. Berman, can
with
you
the
explain to me how
questions
$250
and the
million
deliberation of this
on this
measure.
special election is
I
more
make a motion
important
to
than the
call the question.
Californians
Second.
recently
Mr.
made
Tongipa,
their
you are out of
priorities
order.
when they are overwhelmingly past
Mr.
Prop
Tongipa,
36.
you are out of order.
Mr. Berman, can you explain to me how spending $250 this entire state? They deserve this.
But
Mr.
I
Tongipa,
I appreciate your passion.
I know.
appreciate your
I
passion.
mean, our
I would
hearts,
have
our
very-
hearts break for you and your family. I'm trying to move this hearing along. I understand.
call the question.
We call the question. We have a motion. We have a second. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
I care about
On
the state of California, and I think that we should too. This money is very important to me. It's personal. And I care about you. I know you care. We care. We all care.
Aye.
That's all we're asking for.
Macedo.
That's it. And it worries
no.
me.
Bennett.
Aye.
Bennett.
It
aye.
truly worries
Berman,
me.
I get it. Aye.
Berman. Aye.
I get it.
Salache. Salache. Aye. Stephanie. Stephanie. Aye. Tongipa.
No,
Tongipa. No.
it should worry everybody.
That bill
That's all I'm asking for.
I hear you.
passes 5-2.
Without proper ability for us to ask questions, let that be reflected in the record. I was given less than 5 minutes to
I've
speak.
gotta
Can
pay
counties
25
realistically administer a statewide redistricting election on such a compressed timeline that you talked about without errors, lawsuits, or disenfranchisement?
So we have actually had some tight timelines in the past, and this is going to be a challenge. There's no question there's going to be challenging administrative challenges to this election. But I think in working with what guidelines we have and in working with the Secretary of State's office on looking at some details that we can work collectively to book this election. We've done a lot of successful, difficult elections in the past, and remind everybody of the 2020 election, which was a general election under COVID, and we were able to do amazing work. And I know I have the highest confidence in my colleagues across the state that they will be successful in making it happen with, as long as these details that we're working through are finalized and can be done in a timely fashion.
What is the shortest timeline you've pulled an election together and been successful?
For when I think about the timing, good question. I don't think I can tell you of a specific timeline of what we've done. Typically, we like to have additional timing. That's why in the legislation, one of the things we did ask for is for an E-88 cutoff in the legislation, which was helpful for us because that gives us time to start preparing and not have other add-ons to the legislation. So that was really appreciated on behalf of the members. So there's not a specific timeline that I can tell you the earliest that I've ever run an election. I think it may have been the recall election in the past but we had a little bit of a heads up on that one, but this is coming through the gate quickly, and that's why we're responding as fast as we can on this.
So this potentially could be the shortest timeline you've pulled an election together.
Could potentially, yes.
Okay. Which also makes me nervous when we've talked in extensive amounts on this committee, particularly about making sure that all voters' voices are heard. And although I can appreciate COVID, it seemed like daily things were changing. It was still during a general election that we knew was coming. So I think that's a little bit different, but seems like you're up for the challenge. So then my next question is this process fair to county registrars and elections officials who already face tremendous pressure to ensure accuracy?
So I know we are, so to understand your question, you're asking if this is
your job is tough enough, and we've
Yes.
heard from our chair who was an elections official, this is a tough job, and now we are adding even more to your plate.
Yeah.
I just don't think that's very fair that we're demanding more from you guys and not really giving you much of a runway to do it.
Well, I do think that the resources are going to be helpful for sure, because it allows
Resources
us
meaning finances or what other resources?
funding to be able to actually pay for it, because that is a critical need. And that's why right now I can tell you across the state, there are registrars across the state that have already begun the process, because once we heard that this legislation was coming down the pike, we've begun to make plans. So for example, in my office, we've already begun to go through our checklist and making sure that we get caught up, because there's a checklist that we're going through. So we're quickly navigating that list, and we're reaching out to our vendors, we're reaching out to our locations, because we're expeditiously trying to make sure we are ready for this election. And yes, there's a lot of work ahead. I'm not going to say that there's not, and it's true across the state. So is it going to be a challenge? Yes, there's administrative challenges to such a short timeline, but I do believe that the elections officials in the past, they have stepped up in tremendous ways. Looking again at the 2020 election, I'm proud to say that I'm a member of this membership that has done an amazing job in the past, and I do believe we can rise to the occasion as long as we have the support and the not only the funding, but the little details that we'll be working with Secretary of State to make sure we can be effective in making sure to run these elections.
So state resources have already gone into this process, is what you're telling me?
No, we're planning as if it's coming, because we've read through the legislation that there will be funding for it. So we are moving forward with the assumption that we will be having resources to pay for this election from the state.
Can you walk me through what this planning includes if it doesn't require funding to do? What is this just in your brain?
So it is a checklist where we will contact vendors to make sure that they're able to do the print jobs in time. We will be contacting our locations that we are actually able to have locations available to run these elections, which are critical, because if you're a VCA versus a polling place, there's different timelines that are required. So those are factors that we're still working through, because we have to be able to line up not only locations, the vendors. We have to get translators. Talking about translators, we have to make sure the translators are ready for all of this. So there's just a myriad of issues. We have a checklist. To give you a context, we have a checklist of some 500 items that we're going through every election. So we're speeding through those to make sure we don't miss anything. So one of the things I take great pride in our association is we are attention to detail. We have our checklist. We will make sure not to skip any of those. Are we going to quickly go through them to try and catch up? Yes, we will. And everybody across the state is doing that. So we are working hard with the anticipation that this is a pending legislation, that if it does go through, that we're ready to move forward to the best of our abilities, given this very compressed timeline, because it is a compressed timeline. I will acknowledge that.
So no vendors, no locations, nobody has been contacted, just the creation of a checklist.
No, we've been contacting vendors. We actually have been contacting vendors, contacting locations. We are actually trying to lock down all of the locations. We have a few still outstanding for myself in Yolo County. We still have a few outstanding, but we've got most of them locked up. So there's still a process that we have to do to be able to continue to do the checklist and verify that we're ready to run the election. We're not done yet. It's an ongoing process still.
When specifically did you start this process? Do you have a date?
So we started when we heard through the grapevine there would be a potential piece of legislation coming out. When announcements started coming out, we as registrars became proactive, because you can't wait till it's already done and approved. You have to start lining up as quickly as possible. So we are already started this a couple of weeks ago when the word was out that there was likely a possible piece of legislation coming through. So across the state, we started contacting our vendors, our contacts to say, in the event this happens, we want to make sure that we're ready for it. So that's primarily how we've approached it.
So you haven't signed any contracts with vendors or done anything yet? You just contacted them?
Yes, we are contacting them to see their availability, to see if there's locations available. So we're in the process of doing that because, again, this hasn't officially been passed yet. We're not going to be able to do it until we know this legislation's passed. But you try and front load it as much as you can. And that's true of any election. You try and front load as much as you can in that process.
Interesting. If the justification for urgency is political advantage rather than a true emergency, does this not set a very dangerous precedent for future legislatures?
Well, I find it interesting that your line of questioning is on the timing and on the finance when your own party called for the recall in 2021 special election.
We're not talking about the recall. I don't know why this keeps getting brought up today. I'd really like to stick to the merits of the bill. So no answer for that.
I gave you my response.
Would any of the witnesses like to answer that question? I'm sure it'll come up in court, but okay. That's all I have, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Assembly-member Tonkipa.
Well,
And there's 15 minutes.
thank you. Yeah, but, I mean, we heard in the testimony that changing the rules of the game in the middle of it are, unacceptable. And yet we displayed that right here. But okay, we'll hop into the questions then. Do you believe that the Independent Redistricting Commission congressional lines conform to the California Constitution? To the author? Anybody? Do you believe?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
Do you believe that the Independent Redistricting Commission's congressional lines conform to the California Constitution?
Yes.
Did they follow the Voter Rights Act?
I believe so, yes. I mean, that they haven't been challenged, but yes, I have every reason to believe they were legal and complied with all of the rules, federal and constitutional rules.
So protected classes, districts were created to protect off of race, religion, sex, all of that?
I wasn't involved in those lines,
But you just spoke
I
that you
have-
knew the lines.
And can you ask the questions to the merit of this bill? Yeah.
I have no reason to believe that the Redistricting Commission's plans were not in compliance with all federal laws, including the Voting Rights Act.
Can I ask you, how long have you seen this piece of legislation and how long you were granted access to this?
Sorry, are you talking about what are we talking about? Are we talking about
The bill. How long have you seen the language?
Are we talking about
Do you think that any of the lines drawn by the commission were racially gerrymandered?
by the commission?
By the commission.
Redistricting
Yeah.
Commission? By the Redistricting Commission. Is that-
These are not questions pertaining to SB 280. SB 280 contains the components that are critical to ensuring that county elections officials and the Secretary of State are able to administer the statewide special election in this timeframe. So it's not going into the details of the maps. This is actually the administration of the election and the funding of it.
Okay, I understand. There's so many changes.
Who drew these maps? And I'm not saying general groups. I'd like specific names. Who specifically drew these maps?
So these are the legislators' maps, the legislature's maps. We did 3 important things. We took the knowledge and public input from the Independent Commission. We keep the more cities whole than the Commission's map, and we are letting our voters see the maps and make the ultimate decision.
Madam Majority Leader, I understand. I've heard all that. Who drew the maps? It's a very simple question. Names, preferably.
The Assembly.
The Assembly did it.
Okay, I'm in the Assembly, and I did not draw these maps.
Well, you're not the leadership.
No, and I'm aware of that. But the same way that in this bill, it says that the Assembly Elections Committee, not Chair Pellerin, not Assemblymember Salache, not Assemblymember Bennett, I am a part of that group. So by association, I have been lumped in, Mr. Bennett. So I'm asking, who drew these maps? Not general
the
groups.
legislature drew the maps.
Who specifically in the
The
legislature?
legislature drew the maps.
This is transparency that we don't get to know who drew the maps.
The legislature drew the maps.
Again, over 76% of this
That's
bill.
not what I'm asking.
But you are, though. This is where the maps are coming from.
Heard
is from the
your response to that. I am asking
the
you
Citizen
specific
Redistricting
question
Commission,
that
which
you
is
are
bipartisan.
watching.
Okay, let's have one person speak at a time, please.
And my question has not been answered. The information you've given, I've already heard. I've got it here.
The question has been answered. You just don't like the answer.
You said the legislature. I am the legislature. I am part of the legislature. Is that correct, Madam Chair? Because I am not a Democrat.
Can I
and
try
I'm
and
not part of the
Assemblymember
legislature.
Bennett, you
Can I
make
just try and answer
Is my
in
time
good
paused?
faith? Yeah, good, pause the time. But when we say the legislature, all kinds of things happen in the legislature. We're not all involved in every one, but they're all controlled by the legislative leadership. The legislative leadership wrote these maps. The combination, we have a leader right here.
So,
right? She's part of the leadership.
so
the
you wrote
leadership
the maps,
team, the
or helped
leadership
write the
team,
maps?
The team
leadership
did.
team.
I didn't personally write the maps.
So then there you go. She's in leadership, and she just said she didn't write the maps.
There's others that are in the leadership.
She was part of the leadership team.
Okay,
That doesn't
can we
mean
bring the
everybody on
debate
team
back
did
to
it.
the chair,
who
please?
is the team?
Okay.
You know who the team is.
I think we've answered the
The
question.
question
you have
has
not.
been answered. Do you have another question? And I'm sorry, did you have a comment you wanted
I
to make?
just wanted to say, you can all verify this. This week's edition of Capitol Weekly podcast had Paul Mitchell as their guest from Political Data. He spoke about the fact that he forgone an Italian vacation with his family in order to work on redrawing these maps.
Fantastic. Why can we not have Paul Mitchell here then to testify?
He
Because
was.
we're the authors of the bill.
Yeah.
Okay,
Do you
but you
have
brought
other?
witnesses.
Do you have other
Yes,
questions
I
about
have
AB?
lots of-
Let's go ahead and move forward with those questions.
Okay, so then my question is how much was Paul Mitchell paid? Does anybody know? Okay, well, if it was over $5,000, he would have to register as a lobbyist. So did any lobbyists help with this? Nope.
Again, we've
Okay.
already,
How many versions of these maps were
Chris.
created?
I'm sorry.
How many versions of the maps have been created to this point?
This is the version you see here. There were tweaks done yesterday at 8 a.m. They were time-stamped.
How
change a few
many
things.
versions?
This is the version you see here. It's Friday at 8.
You guys have been
Friday-
well prepped by legal, let me tell you.
Friday last week.
You're
You saw
welcome.
the maps on
What
the Assembly
safeguards are there to
and Senate
prevent
website.
legislators or staff with conflicts of interest from manipulating the maps?
Repeat that again.
What
No.
safeguards prevent legislators or staff with conflicts of interest from manipulating the maps?
My morals and my ethics. Let's just start there.
I know, Ms. Curry, that you are, but I'm asking within the language, what are we doing to safeguard that, not just a handshake and a promise?
The maps are publicly posted on the Elections Committee's website.
Which I'm not expecting an answer to this, but I'll ask it anyway. Did anyone with a conflict of interest, including potential candidates for Congress, Mr. Salache, I know this takes you out of it, but don't worry, participate in drawing or reviewing the maps? Any potential candidates for Congress?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. If these maps are challenged in court, how long could Californians be left uncertain about who represents them in which districts they reside? That probably would be a question for the attorneys.
Can you repeat the question?
If these maps are challenged in court, which I'm assuming they likely will be, how long could Californians be left uncertain about who represents them in which districts they reside
I
in?
think they'll always be certain. I mean, will always be certain on who represents them and what maps apply to each election.
So you don't see any challenges in court delaying this?
I think that these maps are legally sound, absolutely.
Interesting. Okay. Whoever is paying you, I'm sure will maybe agree with you. How can the legislature justify abandoning the transparent voter-approved commission process in favor of a secretive process controlled by, like you just said, partisan interest? Because this is a partisan gerrymander.
Yeah, Texas started it. I mean, when President Trump calls the governor of Texas to find him 5 seats, let's be clear what happened, just like he did in Georgia during the last election. So you want to talk about conflict of interest and corruption? Let's talk about it.
Any member who has not spoken yet that would like to say a few words or have any questions?
But Madam Chair, because it's an informational hearing, can we ask more questions?
Absolutely no.
Why?
We're done.
But it's an informational hearing.
I know. And you have had more than 15 minutes of time to ask your questions.
Because I believe the people of California, which this affects 40 million people, they deserve more than 15 minutes.
Days.
So we're going to allow the
days,
authors to have any
78.
close, and then I'm going to have a few closing statements as well.
So the 40 million people, they don't more than 15 minutes. But not only that,
We're going to have our co-authors go ahead and close.
Mr. Berman,
Okay, we are not doing crosstalk.
part of what
I am speaking to the authors, and I would like you both to just please give me a little bit of time and respect. So thank you. I'm now going to turn it over to our co-chair, our co-authors, to go ahead and say.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much.